What's up? Welcome to your Buckeye Rush Hour for a Friday, July 12th, 2024. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for coming in and hanging out. Appreciate you. Thanks for spending some time. Please hop in those comments, hop in the chat. Get me some topics you want to talk about today. We're going to talk some recruiting to start off, but we can go anywhere you want. Drive the show. You lead me, and we'll talk about whatever you want. I'm dragging a little bit today. Woke up at like 4 o'clock last night again. Couldn't fall back to sleep. So I've had 2 coffees today. Probably should have gone with 3 or 4. So anyway, I will give you my best as always. That's what she said. So let's talk about some recruiting, please. To start off, though, I do have a question for the chat. So we've been doing this last couple of weeks. Talking about the season coming up. We're only 5 Saturdays away, 6, something like that. Anyways, so we're talking about the big matchups, some of the big games coming up. And last week, I think we did, what was it? Was it Miami and Florida? Or no, it was Georgia Clemson. That's right. So today, there's another big week 1 matchup. I'm going to drop it in the chat. I just want to know who you pick. USC versus LSU. This is in Vegas. Right now, LSU is a 6.5-point favorite. It's a night game, 7:30 p.m. So USC versus LSU, 6.5-point favorites. Who you got? Let me drop it in the chat here. One second. And I will pin that so everybody can see it. All right. So let's get into some recruiting here. We got some big announcements coming up. Every announcement is a big announcement, but some are more important to the Buckeyes. Starting off tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, you got 4-star Texas wide receiver Daylan McCutcheon. He's committing live on the Rivals YouTube page. If I find that, I will post it in the YouTube community so you guys can find it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. So he's down to 5 schools, McCutcheon. Hey, by the way, has anybody heard of McCutcheonville, Ohio? I mentioned this the other day on one of my shows. McCutcheonville is a real town. It's a real small town. It's on, I believe it's Route 53 between about halfway between Tiffin and Upper Sandusky. You got to go through it to get to Upper, and you can get on 23 right around Upper Sandusky off of 53 to head down to Columbus. Done that hundreds, probably close to hundreds of times when I was younger. Anyways, McCutcheonville, Daylan McCutcheonville, it just seems like should go together like peanut butter and jelly. Anyway, he is a former teammate of Buckeye freshman linebacker Peyton Pierce at Lovejoy in Lucas. Florida State's been getting most of the attention over the last few weeks, though, from McCutcheon. There are a number of ways this decision could go, but it's not looking great for the Buckeyes as of right now, the latest we're hearing. So that would be a pleasant surprise. And it would be nice to finally get that 4th receiver that Brian Hartline wants for this class. He just has the 3 right now. So you got Porter from New Jersey, Des Jones from New Jersey, and then BP Miller, the development project from the Mansfield area. So Hartline wants 4. I'm sure he can get 4, but is that 4th going to be quality enough? I mean, McCutcheon's a high-end 4-star receiver, So we'll see on that tomorrow. If he does pick the Buckeyes, make sure you're subscribed here, and I'll do a Breaking Booms segment. Now, you also got coming up July 18th, 6 days away, you got Florida 4-star defensive lineman Jarquez Carter. He's from the Gainesville area, generally speaking. He's made a ton of visits to Gainesville. So I'd be shocked if this goes the Buckeyes way. He's made a lot of visits to Miami as well. So he's committing. He's a 4-star, a low 4-star, but the Buckeyes need another D tackle. So he's committing July 18th. Also committing July 19th, a week from today. Ohio 5-star safety Trey McNutt. Ever heard of him? Yeah. Anyway, he's announcing he's probably picking Oregon, though. This is not a Buckeye commit or Buckeye watch or anything like that, unfortunately. But Oregon's bringing that Uncle Phil money, snatching people up. And McNutt really never showed any interest in going to Ohio State. He talked about taking visits, in the fall to Ohio State, but if he's announcing July 19th, he's not serious about taking a visit to Ohio State in the fall. That's not going to happen. So ship has sailed. Bon voyage. Then you got Florida 4-star receiver Vernell Brown III. Bernie Three Sticks, we like to call him here. He's going to announce July 21st. Now, things were looking good for the Buckeyes a couple months ago, but have kind of petered out and tapered off. So it's looking like he's going to go to his dad's school, going to Florida there. So that ship's kind of sailed as well. Then you got all-important offensive lineman, Georgia 4-star tackle Josh Petty. He's announcing August 12th. Not looking good for the Buckeyes there either. He during his recruitment, he has stated that he wanted to go where his sister is going. His sister is going to Florida State, so already a crystal ball in for Petty to Florida State. He liked the Buckeyes. Things were good after his visit and stuff, but we just haven't seen any momentum toward the Buckeyes. And it looks like he's going to stay in the South if nothing else. But Florida State is the choice as of right now. Then you got the big man out of North Carolina, 5-star tackle David Sanders. He's committing August 17th. So that's the must get for Justin Fry and for this Buckeye offensive line class, in my opinion. We need another high-end tackle to go with Carter Lowe. That'd be a hell of a set of bookends for the future of the offensive line. Those guys could come in and challenge for starting spots next year, their freshman year. And that's a selling point. I mean, if you're David Sanders, I think you got to listen. And this is not about NIL. This is not an NIL recruitment. Now the Buckeyes need to be in the ballpark. We can't have a major gap between them and Tennessee, but I don't think NIL is going to be a deciding factor at all in this recruitment. It's really about he's an academic interest. So he's interested in the medical system at Ohio State, one of the best in the country. So that helps. And he's a family atmosphere kind of guy. He's close to his siblings. So and North Carolina is only less than an hour flight to Columbus. So and Charlotte and Columbus are major cities relatively. So no problem getting flights back and forth. And with NIL, that'll pay for that, easily. You could freaking move your whole family there if you wanted with the NIL dollars he's going to give. He's probably looking at 7 figures easily, maybe 8, who knows? But regardless, I feel good for the Buckeyes position right now. I know Tennessee is really the only other team in this race right now. So I'm not sure what they're offering other than they can't offer anything better than Ohio State, right? I mean, seriously, it's freaking Tennessee. So anyway, we compete for championships every year. They can't even make it to their conference championship game. So then you got Florida 5-star wide receiver Jamie French committing August 30th, allegedly. He never made it to an official visit at Ohio State. So don't look for that to go the Buckeyes' way. Texas, Oregon, USC, the usual suspects. So we'll see what happens with him. But again, not a Buckeye lean there at all. So when you reassess this class and you think about, okay, we're either going to have to circle back on some guys because everybody's committing over the next month, or you got to get out the spatula and start doing some flipperooskies. Now, we need another running back, another wide receiver, need 3 O linemen, one of them a tackle, 2 interior guys, a D lineman, could be an end or a tackle, a line. We got the linebacker covered. I think we're straight there. A safety and a corner. Remember, Blake would be decommitted, and we didn't get Dorian Brew. So we need a corner in this class, kind of a slot corner, ideally, because that was what they recruited Blake Woodby as. Then a safety, those guys are interchangeable. Got Messiah Delhomme still out there, has not committed yet at safety. He seems to be the strongest option. But going back to the running backs, I did want to mention Anthony Rogers, Turbo, current Alabama commit. He would be a flip option. He's got a great relationship with Coach Locke. They're both from Alabama. He's 5'8", 190. So relatively short, different kind of back than we've had in the past. Kind of a short little speedster, Rondale Moore type. He's a 9'4", 9'3", though, a solid 4-star, nationally ranked number 110, number 6 running back in the class. So he's been committed to Bama for over a year, just over a year. So we'll see if Coach Locke can get out the spatula there. On the O-line, this is where Justin Fry has got his nuts in a vice, honestly, just to put it bluntly. Here's his 2 options. And we've had the same talk a year ago, I'm sure. You got to circle back with the spatula, ping any of those kids that might have shown interest but are committed. Maybe you can get a conversation started again. Or you come in late on some seniors after they play a few games this fall, put out some new offers. The big issue, and I'm having a hard time defending Justin Fry. I have been for like the last year. I'm like, he'll get it together. He'll do it. I'm trying to pump the guy's tires and stuff, but I had faith that he's a good coach. He's a good developer. We saw what he did with Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons had a great, not a great year, but improved over the season, but then you see other guys taper off towards the end of the year, Josh Fryer. But then you're recruiting and you're like, okay, he brought in some decent, some 4-stars, in-state guys. He really kind of put up a fence around Ohio, brought in the Armstrong twins, the class before that, brought in some Midwest guys, some Indiana guys, Ian Moore, guys like that. So I am having trouble defending Justin Fry right now. I don't know what the hell to do. I almost said an F word there. But it's really hard to come in late. It's somebody's senior year and offer them and get a commitment out of them, especially somebody that's 4-star or above. It's just not going to freaking happen very often. You might get one. We need 3 O linemen. So if he whiffs on David Sanders, that really I don't know. It really screws us over big time. I mean, all you got left that are guys that aren't committed. You got Javon McFadden from Maryland, 6'5", 300 pounds. He's a 3-star. He's not committed yet, but he's got commitments or offers by a bunch of SEC schools and stuff. So he's a wanted commodity. And sometimes those interior guys are kind of lower rated too. I think it's just hard for the scouts to get eyeballs on them because they're down in a mass of humanity, So other than that, there's not a lot. Like I mentioned, Josh Petty, probably not a Buckeye lean, So we're kind of we're running out of options, and he only put out 29 offers. That sounds like Not very much. If you're trying to bring in a 5-man class, even a 4-man class, you've got to put out more than 29 offers. And only 8 are uncommitted as of right now. I mean, this is simple math, right? If you put out more offers, that means more guys would be available right now to commit. It's not hard to wrap your brain around that, right? So I don't know. We'll keep. I'm sure Justin Fry is scouring the internet and the scouting department to drum up some more talent, but I don't know if it's out there. I mean, yeah, you can go get 2 and 3 stars if you want. There's plenty of them that would love to go to Ohio State, but it's not really what we're looking for, right? So hopefully we get Sanders. That will make the rest of the class kind of a layup and earn Justin Fry maybe a little bit of a reprieve from the fan base. But receivers, right now, there's really only 2 options for Brian Hartline. You got Phillip Bell from California, and you got Kentucky commit Preston Bowman. He was a recent offer in the last few weeks. Bell's planning to announce his college decision at the end of August. I believe he did just lose his mother, though, so hearts go out to him for that. But seems like he's still going to make that decision. Might be a difficult time. Maybe that timeline gets moved a bit. So we'll see what happens. But seems like a 2-team race between Ohio State and USC. So if McCutcheon doesn't go our way, maybe Bell is a realistic option. Right now, I'd say the Buckeyes have a slight edge, but it's a long way till the end of August, you know. Preston Bowman's the other guy I mentioned, currently committed to Kentucky. His recruitment's probably going to go into the season and up to the signing period in December. The Buckeyes need to figure out exactly what his role would be with them. So they're still kind of, you know, getting to know each other and going through the early stages of that recruitment. So we'll see what happens there. I would not expect a flip out of him anytime soon. I would say, you know, look for something to happen during the season or December. But what else do we have here? Defensive end or defensive tackle. Malik Autry, he's been really showing the Buckeyes some love on social media lately. He's been posting photos from his official visit with Zion Grady when they came up to Columbus. So that flip looks like it could be a real thing. And you know how Larry Johnson works. He works in the shadows, moves slowly, quietly, but that's a real option. I believe Autry said he's going to make a decision, even though he's already committed to Auburn. He did come out and say he's going to make a decision in the next couple of weeks. So I don't know what that means. Sounds like it could be a flip announcement. And let's see, safety. I mentioned Messiah Delhomme still out there. Not much else left on the D line that's not committed. You know, a lot of the guys we were in on decided to go elsewhere. Shanklin, Justin Hill, Javion Campbell, Marion Dye. We do need to keep an eye on Zahir Mathis. He took an official to Penn State a couple of weeks ago. So we need to make sure that relationship is all good. We need to make sure we get him in the class. Not much else on D tackles. Yeah, Jarquez Carter is the one, but again, not looking in our direction. Brandon Caesar, I don't know what's going on with him up in Cleveland. Sounds like the Buckeyes are cooling on him. He does have an offer, but it doesn't sound like the Buckeyes are maybe going to accept that offer. I don't know if it's a grades issue or off the field or what. That would be my guess, but I'm not sure. Corners, we need one corner. Woodby is still out there. No, I'm just kidding. So is Jonte Gilbert. Just kidding. Not interested. Thank you. We'll pass. So who knows? You could see some offers go out anytime, really, to some corners, maybe some in-state guys. We'll see. So again, just a few more positions that we need to get locked up. O-line is the most important because we need three dudes. But one thing I wanted to point out that this tells you the amount of talent that we have in Ohio right now, which is good, but we're not getting it all. We're not getting half of it even. The Buckeyes have a shot at having the top class in the country this year. We're just a nose behind LSU, I believe, but we have only landed 3 of the top 10 players in Ohio. That's 30%. Not great. It's hard to put a fence up around the state. I understand you're recruiting nationally, but it's not a good look when you, Georgia deals with this shit all the time, right? Florida, the same. How many kids go outside the state of Florida and they have 3 schools there, So just wanted to point that out, that 3 of the top 10 players in the state are staying home. That's it. But all right, let's get to the chat. You guys are steering the show the rest of the way. I'm going to go take a nap. Just kidding. All right. Let's see who's in here first. Tyler and Odysseus. What's up? Tyler, what's up? Odysseus. OH. Tyler says OH. IO to you too. Tyler says there is a Tennessee podcast claiming that we are desperate for David Sanders, and they did not even know we were competing with them for David Sanders this whole time. Your thoughts? Then that podcast are a bunch of morons on that show. They very much should know that we and the Vols are the only 2 options. I know David Sanders put out his top 4, but it's really just Ohio State and Tennessee. It's one of those 2. He's not picking anybody else. So that podcast probably should do some digging and some research before they crack open a microphone, because that just shows that they're morons to me, honestly. So in the game, in the picks here, who you got? USC versus LSU. Let's go through and see who we have. Tyler has LSU. Odysseus has LSU by 17. Hello. Nice. Riley don't know defense. He doesn't. I agree with that. Odysseus says they've got some good mushrooms growing up on Rocky Top. Exactly. Yeah, and stupid pills, right? Tyler says, I know. Odysseus, yep. Odysseus says Oregon is the new ATM. Yeah. Uncle Phil just scratching checks. Open invitation, open blank check. Go nuts, Dan Lanning. And Lanning's a good recruiter. I won't take that away from him, but it also helps when you can just give these kids whatever they're asking for. In most Ohio State's recruitments that they win, they're usually not the highest bidder. In almost all cases, the Buckeyes are not the highest bidder. The Buckeyes win recruitments on development. NIL is a factor because they're in the ballpark on pretty much every recruit's NIL package. But NFL development is the key, the brotherhood, all the talking points that we hear these recruits say in their interviews, the brotherhood. And if they'll get me to the league, it's about NFL, not NIL, things like that. And life after football, those things. So, yeah. It's funny that I remember Dan Lanning had the ESPN cameras come in the locker room last year for the Colorado game. He invited them in. That was not an accident. And then made his speech. They care about clicks. We care about wins, whatever. Seems like somebody really cares about clicks nowadays. Anyway, tit for tit. Odysseus says, usually it doesn't work well for team chemistry and locker room culture. No. I think we might be seeing the 2021 Texas A&M class rebooted here in Oregon. I think you're going to see an exodus, massive exodus, of some of their 5 stars here in a couple years. See Evan Stewart, who they just brought in, and a ton of examples on that A&M team. I think we're going to see something similar. And it is a chemistry killer. Steven, what's up, Steven? Hey, everybody. O-H-I-O, Steven. Christopher, what's up, Christopher? Christopher says Fry just isn't a good recruiter, and I question his development of players. Well, I think you could go both ways on the development part. Yeah. The recruiting issue, I think, is just a lack of offers going out. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I think you got to put out more than 29 offers if you're planning on bringing in 5 dudes. I know. See, this is kind of the Ohio State philosophy. They don't spray the entire country with offers like Michigan does. Michigan puts out over 300 a year. The Buckeyes, 170. It's almost half. The Buckeyes want to focus on relationships with the guys they offer. They want to build those relationships, get to know the families, all the stuff that's important, and not just offer everybody, because they don't want to, they'll get put in a place where they can't accept a kid's offer eventually. I'm sure Michigan's done that over the years. Cheaters. But I don't know. Yeah. I think Fry is a good recruiter when he works on a kid. He's not landing the big fish. And Jordan Seaton last year was an NIL recruitment. See where he ended up? Freaking Colorado. So that's all you need to know. But I think his development is not terrible. Then the question is, who do you go hire? If you fire Fry, who's out there? I don't know. Christopher says, Odysseus says, Fry's also been slow in offering the top Ohio lineman for 26. Yeah, we talked about Guthrie, I think, last week on the 4th of July show. Yeah, he doesn't have an offer yet, but I get your point. He has offered the other 2 guys. Christopher says it'll be hard to flip Autry. Dietrich thinks he's trolling OSU, but I don't know. He said he wants to visit for the game, and that's interesting considering Auburn and Bama play that week. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if he's trolling. That's kind of stupid, isn't it? I mean, kind of a waste of time, but could be. I don't know. We'll see if he makes it in for the game. And this mystery announcement he's supposed to be making in a couple of weeks, what's that all about? Is he decommitting from Auburn? Kind of has to do that first before he can commit to Ohio State, right? So we'll see. I believe just about anything you tell me right now about Autry. Christopher says Georgia put out 48 offers to offensive linemen. Yeah, that's an example of what you need to do. Yep, exactly. Christopher says, but I think there's good smoke with Jakeem Stewart. Yeah, I agree. We just got to let it play itself out. He's got to reclassify. That'll probably happen in the fall. Then we can get a good idea of whether he is a Buckeye lean. I think he is too right now, but we'll see. You got to let the process play out, unfortunately. But I do feel good about Jakeem Stewart. Steven says, yeah, Christopher, one of those Georgia recruits is 6'10", 345. Yeah, that dude, former basketball player. That dude's nuts, man. Christopher says, seen there's a good basketball player. Also, he was Bronny's teammate. Yep. Yeah, he was. Christopher says Georgia's O-line recruits last season averaged 6'6", 340. Yeah, they recruit a little bit different size of O-lineman. Plus, that's what they want, So the Buckeyes don't want 6'6", 340 across the line of scrimmage. So yeah. Steven says Jazier Jackson. Oh, that's the basketball player. Yeah. Christopher says we still have 8 from Ohio and 2 are 5-star. Right. But I was talking top 10. I get it. We do have 8 from Ohio. Excuse me. Yeah, we do have 8 guys from Ohio currently committed. I don't know if I'm curious to see going forward if we'll ever hit that 50-50 mark again. I don't know if we will. 50% Ohio players, 50% national. I don't think it's going to happen. Even with the influx of talent coming up here next year and stuff in Ohio. Odysseus says, weird year with Ohio players. Many just happen to not have Buckeye loyalties. That's exactly it. Trey McNutt, Dorian Brew, exactly. That's the deal. Justin Hill, his family's, Bama fans, so whatever. But yeah, kids want to get out and see the world. It's easier to travel nowadays. Kids are encouraged to travel. They're not afraid to travel, you know. So I understand it. I can see it. David says losing McNutt would hurt. We can pretend it won't, but losing a 5-star in-state legacy, yikes. But he's never shown any interest in Ohio State. It's not going to hurt me. If he takes it down the wire and was all Buckeyes all the time, then flipped at the last minute his commitment, that would hurt. But he's never shown any interest in Ohio State, really, not much at all. He's taken on a bunch of unofficial visits there and stuff. He camped there when he was younger, but yeah, it's over. It is over with McNutt. Odysseus says, don't tell that to the national pundits, Joe, who think we're buying a championship while looking the other way at Oregon, who literally is. Yeah, I know we've assembled an all-star team, they say, right? Through the transfer portal. That's what they've been saying. Yeah, that's fine. People talk shit and don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, it's a good point. I'm glad that Phil Knight quote finally got some light of day and people are talking about it, that he wants to see a national championship before he dies, because that's probably been out there. He probably said that a couple of years ago and it's just now coming out, so yeah, I'm glad that people are talking about that. Christopher says, I like how Pettijohn told the Oregon fans my son isn't for sale after he committed to Ohio State. Yeah, I like the Pettijohn family. Duke, it's a good name. Odysseus says Lanning is like Dion with better players. Yeah, pretty much. He doesn't come out and say I'm bringing Louis bags or whatever, but he's more, I guess, subdued about his changeover of that roster. If you guys caught my episodes of the Oregon preview this week, I did the offense early in the week and then I did the defense. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was Thursday. Got a lot of views from Oregon fans. Also, a lot of awesome comments. Those dirty hippies up there. Anyway, so I looked into it, and they, since December of 2022, they have picked up. I think they have sent 34 players into the portal in a year and a half. Now Lanning's been there 3 years, but in a year and a half, they have sent 34 players into the portal. To compare, the Buckeyes have sent 9. So tells you their roster is still in flux. He's still trying to get his guys in there, quote unquote, whatever that means. But yeah. Yeah, I would recommend you go back and check out the the Oregon preview. I got Penn State queued up. Doing tomorrow. Doing Penn State offense. Then we'll do Penn State defense a couple days later. Try and mix it up a little. So I'm trying to preview the big three that we play this year. You know, the Cheaters, Penn State, and the Ducks, of course. The Oregon fans didn't like it when I asked the question, what's so intimidating about a duck? They were offended. Sensitive fucking hippies, honestly. Odysseus says all about the clicks. Yep. Odysseus says his biggest win is a Fiesta Bowl versus the Liberty. Yeah. Yeah. 3 losses in 2 years to Washington. They didn't just lose twice last year to Washington. They lost the year before too. Doug says, I was driving and missed the notification. Go Bucks. OH, to you, Doug. Hope you're doing well. Drive safely. Christopher says, but we should keep more in Ohio, though. Oh, ideally, yeah. But when you're recruiting the best of the best, you can't always depend on Ohio to provide that. There have been years and years of not getting high-end talent out of Ohio. You know, we've seen that over time. Now, fortunately, things are bouncing back with this 25 class. The 24 class was solid. This 26 class coming up looks to be solid. So Ohio's making a little bit of a comeback, kind of a big comeback, honestly, in the talent department. So we need to take advantage and lock these guys down for sure. Odysseus says Rick Neuheisel said Phil is pulling out all the dollars on his XM show. Yeah, I heard that. So Phil's gonna fill. Does it feel cheaper though if you're knowingly committing millions and basically buying a championship like we're being accused of right now through the portal? I mean, does it feel the same? I don't know. If I'm an Oregon fan or Phil Knight, I'm like, I guess you get what you pay for. That's what it's about. I just seems somewhat hollow if you're dumping all your money into it, and I don't know. Let's see. Odysseus says June 21st, I meant. Okay. Doug says if Ohio doesn't have enough top tier talent, I'm okay with going out of state. The thing is, you can't wait and go out of state. You got to recruit both at the same time. You know, you got to put equal effort into the national recruits and the in-state recruits. You can't just recruit locally. Then if you don't land anybody, go national. It's too late by then. You got to balance and go after both equally at the same time. Christopher says, I think it's a very weak point when people bring up paying players and coaches, considering it's illegal to do. Keep up with the Joneses or Ohio State. Exactly. I agree, Christopher. You can do this now. You know, you can pull the SMU, you know, bags of money. You can do the McDonald's bags if you're in Tennessee. You don't have to be coy about it. You have to hide it. So, yeah, if you're not doing it, then your program is hamstringing itself, and you've got a shitty program if they're not keeping up with the Joneses, right? I mean, you got to, as a program, take advantage of every loophole, every rule, regulation you can, bend them, twist them, whatever, and you know, use them to your advantage when you can. Doug says, I read or listened to someone saying that McNutt's dad, being a former player, hurts OSU because his parents are not on good terms. I believe that. I've heard that too. I heard that McNutt's mom does not want him to follow in his father's footsteps for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe something bad happened. I don't know. It does sound like she's got a personal issue with Columbus or Ohio State or whatever. But yeah, I think you're right there. David says we have to land at least one of these top receivers. We know we have Smith from last year and Henry next year, but we need at least one elite receiver that can't miss on all. Yeah, I agree. We need them. The issue is with Chris Henry, number one player in the 2026 class, already committed. Kids are having a hard time. They don't want to be in that sandwich class, kind of like the 2022 class where Kojo Antwi is the only guy left. Everybody else transferred out. So like with Jeremiah Smith coming in last year and who else? Yeah. Anyway, so with Jeremiah Smith, they're not going to get early playing time with him, Tate as a starter. The only open spot, I mean, Ennis is probably going to fill the slot position in 2025 when Emeka leaves. So there's not a lot there for a 2025 freshman to come in and play immediately. These receivers expect to play immediately. That's the problem. And then with Chris Henry in the 26 class, they're like, great. Now I'm stuck between Jeremiah Smith and Chris Henry. You know, I can understand it, but I think Quincy Porter honestly is an excellent receiver. He's almost a 5-star, so I wouldn't forget about that. Christopher says, I hear there's personal reasons McNutt and his mother may not like Ohio State. Right, exactly. We covered that. Doug says Quincy Porter is a top flight receiver and the Jones kid is criminally underrated. Criminally. Yes, exactly what I was getting at, Doug. Thank you. Yeah, Quincy Porter is like a 97, star ranking. So, and I think Des Jones, he's going to be a good slot receiver for sure. Odysseus says many of our portal commits were non-NIL related. Some microphone. It's weird. Back to Odysseus says many of our portal commits were not NIL related at all. Exactly. For instance, we were down second choice when he was being recruited. Exactly. No, we usually don't outbid in NIL. We get in the ballpark. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the development, the life after football, the brotherhood, all that. Plus, you get NIL dollars that are within reach of the other schools, and what they're bidding for your services. So exactly to my point. Doug says letting high schoolers go play 7-on-7 in Ohio, I think will raise the level of play in the state. Yeah, for those skill positions for sure. Yeah. O linemen though, 7-on-7 doesn't really help them. They mostly get their work in on the camp circuit, So, but if you can put together practices and other things, so I think that'll help the linemen get their game up too. This is I got you. I already said that. Doug says you're right about it being too late for national kids. It's a double-edged sword. S word. Yeah, exactly. It's an S word. Christopher says, yes, Ryan Day was surprised how interested Downs was and how easy it was for him to commit. Yeah, because the Downs family is freaking smart. They're not about, they don't need a big NIL paycheck to go somewhere. So same with the Sanchez family. Oh, my camera's cutting out. Oh, I assume you can still hear me. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera. Light keeps blinking. Try that. I didn't know how long that would happen for. Like maybe just a few minutes. Okay. So cruising along. We'll go another few more minutes, 5:30-ish. Um, Christopher, the screen says Joe Warwick now. Yeah, thank you. Think I got it fixed. Just had a loose cable. Got a lot of cables around here, man. It's like fucking spaghetti. Uh, see, Odysseus says Quincy Porter has a lot of Marv in his route running. Yeah, he's that big bodied. I like the size. Definitely good size. Doug says company showed up. Got to go. Oh, okay, fine, Doug. Why don't you all watch the show together? Anyway, have a good one, Doug. Enjoy your company. David says, can't say how lucky we are to have Coach Laurinaitis next Ohio State head coach, hopefully. Ooh, that would be years away, but yeah. He has everything it takes, I think. He's a good dude, family guy. Loves Ohio State more than anything. Uh, he does things for a purpose, you know. He says this was his calling, which is awesome. So he wants to help people, which is a big deal. When you ask a coach what is his why, Laurinaitis, is genuine and authentic with his response. So yeah, Laurinaitis be around for a long time. Christopher says, yes, Porter is similar to Marv, was in high school. Yep. Christopher says, I think James Laurinaitis will be the next DC and then HC. Okay. Got a ways to go yet. But yeah, he has the desire and the smarts, the intelligence. He's authentic. He's like a Ryan Day. He's not a BSer, you know. People, everybody he meets, they all say nice things about him. So yeah. Right. Yeah, he's living out his dream, Christopher says. Exactly. So yeah, just he needs experience. It'll take some time. So it's coming. Just it'll be interesting to see the next 10 years play out, for James Laurinaitis. It's going to be very interesting. Hey, folks, on the way out the door, please hit the like button. I appreciate that. Hopefully, we can get a boom here soon. Tomorrow would be nice with McCutcheonville, Scutch. We used to call McCutcheonville Scutch. Gonna run out to Scutch, pick up a chick. I don't even think they have a traffic light in McCutcheonville. Didn't used to. They had one carry out kind of grocery store thing on the main drag there. My aunt and uncle lived on the main drag in a huge old house. Anyway, I'm running out of material here. Yeah, Christopher says, I hope we can keep the staff together. Odysseus says, for future shows, breaking down the schedule 12-1 toughest games versus easiest. Sure. I always take topic ideas. That one is definitely on the list for sure. Yeah, Christopher, I agree. I hope we can keep the staff together. We got to keep. I'm curious to see what Hartline does. I don't know if he wants to be a wide receiver coach his entire life. Yeah, maybe, but he's hard to read sometimes. He's not as forthcoming as Laurinaitis, you know. Plus, Laurinaitis was on the radio and occasionally comes back on the radio when he has time, with the 97.1 show. But yeah, Hartline, you don't know what his why is. I mean, they gave him the co-OC title, but he's not calling plays. He might be helping organize stuff like an OC, but he is not calling a play. I don't think he's ever called a play, practice or otherwise. I would doubt it seriously. So I really do want to see what happens with Hartline. And then you got Chip. You know, how long does Chip want to coach? I can't see him coaching 10 more years. He's like 60 right now. I could see him going 5 maybe. But in college, I don't think he goes pro. In the chat, Christopher says, I think him and James are good friends. Yeah, Hartline and James, they are good friends. David says, would love to land Bernie 3 sticks. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that ship's sailed too. He's doing the Gator chomp when he announces. Yeah, Christopher, I agree. Hopefully, Hartline learns from Chip Kelly. I mean, he's had the opportunity to learn under some good offensive minds. Ryan Day is one of the best play callers in modern football. Chip Kelly, obviously. So he's been surrounded by talented coaches, you know, experienced coaches too. So yeah, I think if Hartline would be stupid to not, or lazy to not pick up, you know, and go under these guys' wings and learn, you know, like a mentor relationship. But all right, boys and ladies and germs, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm really tired. But looks like everybody's picking LSU. Not a big surprise. I'm surprised that the spread is only 6.5. Yeah, Christopher and Kevin Wilson, same. Yeah, another good offensive mind. But yeah, we will be back Sunday night, YouTube Live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Me, Jeff, and Sean are back. We took a couple months off, but we're going to start getting geared up for the season. I got to get Jeff and Sean back in season shape. They got to go run through some tires and, you know, work out a little bit. So we'll be back Sunday night, 7:30. Hope to see you there. So I got for you today. Talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.